And we hear the participants go to a shopping mall and they want to buy butter, and instead of butter, they are getting yeast.
And the reason is that that person doesn't feel purpose, doesn't feel that he has impact.
But with the skills, you cannot learn it by just reading about it. You have to try and often fail. Try and fail, but you learn by doing it. When you know that you can support yourself with the internal support system, it helps you to build self-confidence.
Welcome to the Volunteer Support Podcast, brought to you by the European Union's co-funded project Promptus EDU, a collaboration between associations Audis Aut Mori and Building Bridges. Welcome, dear listeners. In this episode are Gabriele and Tadas from Audis Aut Mori Association. I am Tadas, medical doctor.
And I'm Gabriele. I am a volunteer in emotional support line. I'm also a teacher and a teacher's coordinator there. And today our topic is volunteering abroad. Can I do it?
Quite some time ago, we had a meeting with some volunteers that had their experience, that was in the middle of the experience, and we were just brainstorming about what important questions do they had.
And one of the concerns was, can I do it? And as we were asking more about it, we understood that it's not about eligibility criteria, which is age, you have to be a EU citizen, have health insurance and so on. But it was more about self-confidence, the motivation, fears and doubts. Therefore, we would like to address these feelings and for this episode to talk to you about it. And our goal for this episode would be so you would answer yourself whether you yourself can go abroad and volunteer there. And for that, we made a questionnaire, which we together can discuss about. And hopefully, at the end, you can know the better answer. Could you do it or no?
Yeah, so the first question is, do I have motivation? What is motivating you to consider volunteering abroad? So in this one, you have to think about what things motivates you. And then classify this. Is it the inner motivation or is it outside motivation? Because inner motivation is the stronger one, the one that keeps you going. Outside motivation changes based on environment. So the example of outside motivation could be some peer pressure, some friends or some parents saying that you should do that and so on. But during the hard times, that motivation lowers. And the one that you really have, the inner motivation, could be that you want to learn something, that you want to travel, you want to meet new people. So when you have some challenges with those new people, if you have inner motivation to understand them better, so that helps you. So consider this if you have some inner motivation to volunteer abroad.
So the question for you is, what is motivating you to consider volunteering abroad? And please answer as specific as you can. Because later on, when you are on your journey of volunteering, you can remind yourself better, why are you doing this? And also, at the good times, you can reflect on them, whether you are going to achieve your goals, and just reflect on that.
And then another question is about purpose and goal. So what specific goal do you hope to achieve through volunteering? And asking this, you have to consider in general your life goals. There could be some short-term goals, some long-term goals. Short-term goals should align to the long-term goals. So I would recommend you to have some questions about your life and to have the long-term goals, and then split up those long-term goals to the shorter ones that you could achieve the long-term goals. There could be some also very different short-term, but it should be in the same direction. And just think about that. If that experience of volunteering is having some personal growth for you that you may need in your personal life that you are planning for yourself or your career.
We always encourage people to choose the volunteering experience similar to what they want to do in the future. If they are not sure, it's a good time to explore and get to know yourself, your strengths and weaknesses. But hopefully it can contribute to your better future. So volunteering abroad may involve facing fears, but the reward is often outweighed the initial apprehensions.
Yeah, and when you're going abroad, the goals is very good to have a line with the experience that you want to have in the future. But also, if you don't know what you want to do, it's also a very good opportunity. Because if you don't know what you want to do, you can have a goal to understand what you want to do. So the worst way to understand what you want to do in your life is just to sit in your room and to go nowhere. So in this way, you don't have any new experience. And this is just closing your opportunities to understand what you want in your life. So the best way is just to explore, to go on and explore new things, new places, new jobs, new things that you can do, new sports, whatever, new activities. In this way, you can see yourself in a new picture. You can find new hobby. You can find something that you really like. And this can shape your view of the world and your understanding about yourself. And that can motivate you to go on in the life with motivation, the inner motivation that you have. And that is powerful.
Okay, I think we can move to other topics.
So when we are thinking about volunteering abroad, the question that we should ask, why? Why do you want to volunteer abroad? And there are different benefits of volunteering abroad. One of the benefits for sure is personal growth. Volunteering abroad can help you to step out of your comfort zone, of those walls that you are living in, the comfortable walls, let's say parents' home or your home, the ones that you really know well, the environment that you are living, that it's very comfortable. So to go abroad to different places, already stepping out of your comfort zone. Then to have volunteering experience, so it means that, okay, you have to do some work that you haven't done before. You have to communicate with someone that you haven't talked before. You have to be able to communicate effectively to deal with some unknown situations and so on. These new challenges can lead to greater self-awareness. You can understand better in which situation you are stronger, in which situation you have some weakness. But understanding the points that you have weakness is very good because you can grow. And when you are growing, you have that personal growth, you are increasing your confidence.
Another one could be a cultural exchange. It's very beneficial to understand not only your own culture, but to see that there are different ways to live, there are different traditions, and sometimes we don't even question. For us, it seems normal, the way we speak, the way we behave, and only after we leave the country, we realize, okay, this is not the only way. Maybe some things are better elsewhere, and we can adapt the best practices from our culture and from other cultures as well.
Yes, and also we have opportunity to develop new skills. So volunteering abroad really helps that with new work experience, and we can learn something new. And that skill, the experience can help in our personal or professional growth. So it means that we can do something more in our own country, and also we can have some opportunity to be in a new workplace or to have a higher position in the workplace. So it's beneficial for us.
I completely agree. One of the motivations for volunteers is also the sense of purposeness. They want to make a difference, especially if you go volunteer in some kind of organization when they're taking care of animals or people. You kind of feel that you are making the difference. You see the results right away. So yeah, one of the motivations could be making a difference.
Yes, and all of this sounds quite serious, like growth and cultural experience that can help you and purpose and making a difference. But also during this experience of volunteering abroad, you are traveling. So it's fun. People traveling for holidays, and you are traveling not for 1 week, but you are traveling like for a couple months, a half of the year or a year. So you can have experience of living in another country like a local. You can really travel there and just have new opportunity to explore different places and have new experiences, and that's fun and nice to have.
Mm-hmm. And also meet new people. Whenever you go somewhere else, you meet new people. That's obvious, but they are so different from the people from your own home. So it's very nice to build these connections. And later on, after you come back, you have a friend abroad that you can visit, or they can visit you, and that's really, really nice. So another question could be about your fears and concerns. The way we would like to approach it, that it's often beneficial to name your fears and concerns. It's usually like, yeah, I'm afraid, but what I am actually afraid of. And when you are listing these things, it makes it more clear. Usually it makes us afraid. We usually fear of the unknown. So when we make a list, we can address these fears and ask ourselves, can we do something about it? Can we build support system for that? Can we prepare somehow better? Or what maybe we cannot do and just prepare ourselves mentally to deal with it. So the question would be, what fears or concerns do I have about volunteering abroad?
Completely agree with you, Gabriela, about the unknowns and just to specify for yourself what do you fear. And that really helps, just understanding like, okay, this is the thing that I fear. And then you can think what the worst thing can happen if this will happen. What is my plan? What I will do? And just to have a backup plan of that situation helps to be more calm. But also what's beneficial is not only think about the fears, but sometimes also think about some positive. Like, okay, you have to have plan for the fears and concerns, but then also think about the best plan. So that can also motivate. But of course, we have to consider the fears. So let's have some of the fears that volunteers have.
We would make kind of a list of what kind of fears we heard from volunteers, but some of them we just think of. This list is not to make you scared, but it's just to address that these fears might come up. So the first one is cultural shock. Probably it's inevitable to have some kind of cultural shock, because if you are coming from very far away, you might have connection with people who are behaving in a completely different way, and it's hard to understand them in that way. It's beneficial to have good communication skills and understand each other better. You're usually at the same team, you want good results, and just talk about these things to each other.
Yeah, and when you are lost in a new culture, you can feel self-doubt or uncertainty. So just read something about that culture that you could adapt better, and that will make you feel better. Another thing is language. So if you're traveling to another country with different language spoken there, so for sure, that's a barrier for you. And you just need to have skills of the language that you could communicate with the organization that you're volunteering in. So probably that's English, maybe it's not English, but yeah, to have just some skills of that. And then, of course, in the streets, you will have some experience with going to a supermarket or something like that. You may not read the signs, but you may use Google Translate with pictures. You may not be able to talk with people on the street, but you may talk in a sign language or something like that. So yeah, there are some new ways to find that you can communicate with people abroad.
And usually it's very funny experiences from language barriers. And we hear the participants go to a shopping mall and they want to buy butter, and instead of butter, they are getting yeast or something. It's fun to talk about with other volunteers. What kind of things was there that happened to them during misunderstanding? Okay, so another thing that is concerning sometimes, volunteers are afraid that they lack of experience. So let's say they want to volunteer in organizations that are writing projects, and they say, oh, but I never wrote a project myself. But it's important to talk about it upfront with the organization that you're going. So you wouldn't say, yeah, I know everything. Be truthful. But usually this opportunity is for you to learn new skill, to develop new skills. And usually they have a teaching system, support system for that. So be clear about it. And if you are afraid, maybe you can ask, what kind of learning system do you have, and so on.
Yeah, for sure. We may grow from the positive experiences, but also quite often we grow from the negative ones. And those situations are not comfortable for us, but it's a way to understand better about ourselves. And yeah, just think about that. And about growing, it's very important to think that, okay, I have to go out from my comfort zone, but please don't try to have too big step for you. You can step a lot of times quicker with the smaller steps, and that can make you grow much stronger. That big step could just scare you and you may not do anything. It's like you are just stopping and fearing and you're not moving. So that would not be a good thing. Another thing that people that are going abroad to volunteer fear, some concern about the impact that they would do. And you know, the impact is such a thing that a lot of people want. They want to help someone. They want to do something big. But to do something like that, you need to really work on it there. You have to take some time. And I really like the talk of Simon Sinek. He talks about different topics, but he also talks about the youth generation, workplace, environment, and so on, and the purpose there. And I don't remember exactly, but it's something like he was talking with a young person that is going out of the job after like 2 months. And the reason is that that person doesn't feel purpose, doesn't feel that he has impact. And for Simon Sinek, it was quite funny because 2 months is not that much. For older generation, they are spending much more time in the workplace, but now we want to have the very quick results. And in some places we can have the quick results, like on computers you can do quite a lot of things quite quickly, but some things still take time. So of course you can make impact, but be realistic. Don't think that okay, you will travel to the moon during the exchange. Have realistic goals and just take time. Like first 2 months or 3 months can be your adaptation to the experience. You can have the background and then later on you can have more impact. So don't demotivate yourself after first month that, oh, I don't have impact here.
Don't push yourself too much, especially in the beginning. Another concern could be financial concerns. Yes, you will receive some money from European Union to support your volunteering experience, but you may not know how much it's costing you to rent and also have some food and so on. And it's very reasonable. So the advice for that could be just to talk to the organization, what's usually the price is enough, and maybe talk to ex-volunteers relating to such a practical thing as financial concerns.
Yeah, for sure. And one more we have in the list, so it's safety concerns. So depending where you are traveling, it differs, but for sure it could be quite some difference from your place that you are used to. There may be some people with some knives on the streets or some burglars. It may be different. It may even be safer. Some people may even not lock the doors of the cars or their home. So it's a thing that you need to consider. That environment can be different, and you can just read statistics about the accidents that happens in that place. You can talk with a volunteers organization that you are applying to. You can just Google, you can search for that information or talk with some other people that had the experience. And in general, these things you need to consider. But the most important is to remember that all these feelings that you have are natural. And many people experience them when they go volunteering abroad. It's not just you. And if you are feeling overwhelmed or uncertain, it might be helpful to listen to this podcast because we will talk about lots of different feelings and the experience that you will have during your exchange.
And also practical stuff.
Yeah, and some practical stuff. And also for sure, you could talk with someone who has volunteered, what challenges did they had, and that helps for sure. And one more thing is just to talk with volunteer coordinator in one of the organizations that you want to volunteer, because those people usually have a lot more experiences. They have experiences of communicating with different volunteers with their experience. So yeah, just ask. And for you, it may seem that, oh, that's the question that I have is just the first one for me, but probably like a lot more volunteers ask that, and someone has the answer.
Yes. So another question to yourself, whether I can commit my time during this whole experience. Just consider the time commitment required for volunteering abroad. How does it align with your current life circumstances? Because we can talk how good it is, how much you want it, but if your life is currently not in a situation to have this experience, well, you cannot do. But from the other side, it's also a question, okay, what is better time to do it than now? Would it be better when you have a certain someone that is waiting you in home country? Is it better time when you will have kids or something? So it's from both sides. Whether I can do it now, maybe I can plan it in 1 year, 2 years. But if you think this is for you and you for sure want to experience it, better not to postpone.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gabriela. Sometimes there are some time-related considerations or constraints that we may need to address, but sometimes it's just some fears and doubts, and we find the reasons to not travel, to not have the experience of growth, of some challenging experience that would help us in the long term. And talking about experiences is very important to also think about your previous experience. So the new experience can be completely different, but it may be better if you have some experience that it would not be like out of your comfort zone. As I mentioned before, little steps is better than the huge ones, because with little steps you're walking, and then you can just be upfront the person that is just trying to have the big one, and he may succeed with the big step, but then later on stop and just have some burnout. It's also very important, because when you are having too much stress, you're pushing yourself too much, you may burn out, and then you just need to rest for a couple of months without doing anything. And with having little steps, you may just feel better. You may care more about your feelings, about your emotions, and that helps in the long term.
And also, if you have previous experiences with some challenges, you can reflect what was exactly the things that helped me in that situation. And it's just building your self-trust, self-confidence that, okay, it was hard before. Maybe it's not now completely the same thing, but maybe I was lonely and I figured in my own country how to deal with that. Maybe I didn't belong to someone, but in my own country, I find a way to connect and so on. So yes, it's another experience. Yes, it's another country, but you are not born yesterday. You have skills. And if you just remind yourself that you made it so far, maybe you can go further.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gabriela. Quite often we forget what we can do. We forget what we have done, and try to remember what have you accomplished when you were happy about yourself, when someone gave you compliments about what you achieved. And for sure, everyone has something that can motivate you to go on.
So concrete question would be, how did you navigate challenges in those experiences, and what have you learned from them?
Good. Then we have to consider what skills and strengths can we learn in the experience, and just reflect about yourself, what you have learned, and what you can learn new that would be useful to you. And just ask yourself, how do you think these can contribute to a volunteering experience abroad? What skills can help in that experience? And also, are there specific skills that you want to learn, that you want to gain from this volunteering experience? What do you want to achieve from this experience that would be useful to you?
And speaking about skills, I would like to share how we speak to our volunteers about skills, because knowledge, yeah, you can read about it, you can learn it by heart and you will know. But with the skills, you cannot learn it by just reading about it. You have to try and often fail, try and fail, but you learn by doing it. The reflection always helps. But don't push yourself too hard. If the first or second time you fail, maybe you'll fail more than once, but eventually that's the only way to build a skill. So yes, there are professional skills that you can develop, but also it's personal growth and development. So question for you could be, in what ways do you envision personal growth and development through volunteering abroad? Maybe you will learn to listen better. Maybe you will learn how to resolve conflicts with each other. Maybe to have better time management. Maybe you can identify the specific areas of your life that you would like to impact through this experience.
Yeah, some soft skills that you could develop. Yeah, some communication skills, traveling, navigating, and so on, to just adapt in a new system.
So another thing to answer would be, do I have a support system? This support system is needed when you are having the hard time. We name that, okay, we have these fears, how can we address them? But that's what the support system is for. Support system can be maybe your friends or family, that during some challenges you can call, you can just talk about what's happening and so on. But also in the organization, usually there are tutors and mentors where you can come and talk what is not going well and so on. And please be willing to talk to them, because these people are there for you. This is not a weakness that you will come with your concerns, with your fears, with your challenges. This is the system for you to help you to have the better experience.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gabriela. And of course, there are different people, different communication skills and so on, but quite often openness helps very much in the new connections, in making them stronger, in just communicating faster, quicker. Because if you're keeping to yourself lots of information, you may just show from the body language, you can show you from your emotions that you show. You can show that something is wrong, but other person may not understand what exactly is wrong. And if you would say that could be easily just solved. So yeah, just communicate openly. How do you feel? What's happening? And so on. And that thing that you may say could help for that person, because quite often people think that having negative feedback is not positive, but quite a lot of people take negative feedback positively, because this is a growth opportunity for personal growth, for organizational growth, if some process is not working the best. So just give the feedback. But yeah, maybe it's not all the time, but it's most of the time that it helps for sure.
So we talked about like external support system, the family, friends, tutor, mentors. But there can also be your inner support system. Maybe the running or meditation or some breathing exercises. Maybe simple thing as the shower can help you to overcome the challenges. Maybe the reflection. And during this podcast series, we will be talking about how can you support yourself during this time. But it's good to have external support and also internal. When you know that you can support yourself with the internal support system, it helps you to build self-confidence. You know how to rely on yourself better.
That's a great point, Gabriela. Inner support system is very important. And if we think about different situations about our self-confidence, if we're feeling confidence just because someone else is saying that you are good, then we are really depending on them. And in some situations that there may be that people are not saying positive things, but you understand that you're going in the right direction, you're learning something new, and that's based on your long-term goals. And to have that inner support that you are feeling good about yourself, you are feeling strong about yourself, you're confident about what you're doing, it really helps for you to have more stable life, more stable emotions, and it's very important.
Completely agree.
Okay, so the next thing is cultural awareness. So you need to ask, how comfortable are you with the idea of immersing yourself in a new culture? Is it making you
excited? Maybe you are fearful of it. Maybe you have an experience where everything was completely different, a lot of unwritten rules, and you were stuck. You felt stuck.
Yeah, or do you feel comfortable and just it's natural to you because you have lots of experience before? It could be in lots of different ways. And then you should ask, what steps can you take to enhance your cultural awareness and adaptability? So if you had experience in that country that you are planning to travel to for volunteering, you may have that experience. If not, you may read on internet. You may just ask someone that volunteered there, that had some experience in that country, and just have idea that even though you will do research, you may not learn everything before traveling. And during the traveling experience, the living there in different country, you may understand that you don't know quite a lot, but just adapt to that. And for example, there could be like some experience that is completely different from your country. Let's say in Bulgaria and a few other regions of the world, a shake of the head means yes, and a nod of the head means no. So that's completely different.
Yes. So now hopefully you'll reflect on that and you can say, yeah, all these things sounds super scary. I do not have time. I do not have support system. I do not know why I'm going there and I have no skills and so on. But hopefully not. Hopefully you find some answers. How can you support yourself during this time and answer for yourself whether you yourself could go abroad and volunteer. So next steps could be reaching out to the organization that you find that they're working on something that you would like to participate. It's just a question. What is your next step?
So to summarize, what's important is to understand your feelings better, to understand what you feel. If you feel fear, think about what do you fear of? Is it fear of unknown? Is it a fear of something specific? If it's unknown, then think about what can be known from that unknown and just analyze that better, because it's natural for us, for humans to just be fearful of unknown, because it's just our instincts, because we can die in the nature if we are going somewhere where everything is unknown. And then when we are having more knowns than unknowns, with the information that we can research, with the information and feedback that we can talk with some people that had volunteering experience there, with the talks with organization that we are going, then we have more knowns and we can be more calm about the process. And for sure, think about the motivations as we talked. Inner motivation, outside motivation. If we have more inner motivation than outside motivation.
To sum up, I would like to just say one more time that yes, to make a decision, it's hard and a lot of feelings are involved. You may feel motivated, at the same time fearful. And the feelings are not there to stop you. These feelings are there to tell you different aspects about what can happen. Please try to look at the feeling as some kind of sign for you, and that the message that you should explore more. If there are fears, don't stop as you fear. Try to analyze and move with your fear, just addressing that. If you're motivated, move with that motivation.
Yes, I agree with you, Gabriela.
We went through all of the questions of our questionnaire. Hopefully you made your choice or understood yourself better. Could you individually do it or not? Maybe the final note would be that we tried to address the feelings. The questions wasn't about the physical things. What would I like to invite you to see your feelings as some kind of message carriers? What my fears are trying to tell me, what my wishes are trying to tell me, and try to look it from that way. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, and see you in the next episodes.